We welcome you back. A lot to do today, but let's get started here with our featured guest, and that is Coach Brett Bielema of the University of Arkansas. He joins us from Fayetteville. And, Coach, always good to catch up. We talked to you about 5 weeks ago, and everything was looking good. It's looking good today, but my has a lot changed since we were in Fayetteville. Good afternoon, Coach.
Good afternoon, Paul. Great to be on. Yeah, it's been an adventurous 5 weeks. I think the part that we all love about college football is we know everybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday, and unfortunately that proved to be real for us. We jumped out at UTEP and then obviously stubbed our toe against Toledo, a team that never been in a game like it. It was one of those games that I think we had 30 first downs, they had 15. We had 500 yards of offense, they had 300, but the scoreboard told a different story. So lost a heartbreaker to Texas Tech. They played extremely well. Through some unbelievable passing numbers. We just couldn't score enough, but battled back, played a heartbreaker to A&M. The only disheartening thing there, that's in our division, obviously, and a game that we could have easily won, had a few breaks, but didn't get enough breaks, had a few go against us, but responded well last week, and fortunately get ourselves to 2-3, and now have a tremendous talent going on the road to play Alabama.
Coach, I just want to ask you before we spin forward, you made comments, you took a lot of heat. Just personally, I realize you're preparing a team every week. You're not watching ESPN and listening to what all the noise is, but did any of that get through to you? Did it affect you, or do you just try to shut it all out?
You know, it really, Paul, it's probably actually easier than most people can imagine. I think you probably know a little bit about what our daily grind is. I think anybody that's paying attention to good or bad outside the world is probably not focused on the task at hand. I've obviously in my career said some things that rile people up, but whether it was the Texas Tech thing or neither one of them were malicious intent. Both of them were pretty I'm not going to say innocent because everybody's going to blow at that, but I didn't have any intention of doing what came across. The Texas Tech was in a high school coaches clinic during the summer. Ohio State, I was actually paying a little bit of credit to the college football world and the rankings in the SEC. No disrespect to a very, very good Ohio State team, but I really didn't hear it, unfortunately. I hear about it from other people, but not anything too big.
Coach, Marcus Spears here. Been in the locker room. I know you guys don't pay much attention, so we're going to talk a little football. Coach, I watched you guys and, had the opportunity to visit with you this spring and talked about that identity of being able to grind it out in the run game. And I know you like the fact that your offenses need to be balanced and you think that's the best way to win. But it seems to me these past 2 weeks you've gotten back to kind of what that identity is. Was that conversation you had with Danny Noss and the players that, look, guys, we're going to get back to doing what we do and dominating the line of scrimmage from an offensive line standpoint?
You're exactly right, Marcus. I think you never want to go too far away from who and what you are. I did want to, and during our fall camp, we thought that to get to where we need to be at as the SEC season came into it, we need to be able to throw the ball better than we have in the previous 2 seasons. So I'm not saying there was an emphasis of it, but we wanted to be able to execute certain things, and in that process, a byproduct was we didn't run the football as we wanted to. And I'd even go back probably 3 weeks, to be quite honest. Even in the Texas Tech game, we ran the ball pretty effectively and were able to grind it out. It got down to a one-scoring game where if you didn't score a touchdown or if you just kicked a field goal, you were behind. And it was a frustrating one, but we did know that one was a non-conference game. Obviously, not as big as these SEC ones, but 2 SEC. Well, Alex Collins has had 3 straight SEC games now where he's rushed for over 150 yards. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good backs in this conference, but he's really been opening my eyes. We probably just had the best performance out of our center, who's been a 3-year starter for us since I've been around him. He's getting better. Defensively, our 2 leading tacklers were one true freshman and a redshirt freshman. There's a lot of good things being built up, and we're going to get to a point where, when we graduate, we don't lose so many that it has such a tremendous effect on the first part of the year. But I do like the identity we've regained offensively for sure.
Coach, and I know before the season started, a lot of people talked about how the Jonathan Williams injury would affect the way the offense was ran. And I know, you guys never going to use that as an excuse. But has there been any changes to your offensive philosophy because of losing a guy like that who was he brought so much to the team? Did anything change as far as the mentality when you came into the season because you lost him, or you felt like somebody else could step up?
As you know, Marcus, it was probably more of a verbal and leadership presence as much as anything. And don't get me wrong, Jay Will, over a 1,000-yard rusher a year ago, and had been in his previous years. He was a great player, but he was very much missed early in the year from a voice, pregame locker room, halftime, postgame, all of that stuff. And then the part that really became overwhelming was not just Jay Will. Then we lost our best receiver in Keon Hatcher, his roommate, for the same basically time frame, about a 6 to 8 week window. And then we lost after that our next two best receivers in the next 7 days after that. We lost 5 offensive players of really probably our top 11 players in the first week and a half. And as coaches, we just, hey, next man in. But a guy like B.A., I think, Brandon was really feeling the pressure of, oh, man, here's another guy down. I got to take up for this, and it's naturally what kids do when they care. And it's something we had to work out, and hopefully that's behind us. We can just concentrate on Alabama now.
Coach, I know when you got home early Sunday morning, you had to feel good. You got a big win in Knoxville, but I wonder, how did you feel, not that this was a big surprise to you, but how did you feel when you took a look at the Alabama tape from the Georgia game?
You know what, to be quite honest, Paul, I think maybe the outside world was surprised, but I wasn't. The Alabama program, even before I came into this league, obviously I'd known Nick and his story, being at Michigan State, and then obviously at LSU, and then the pro gig. And I'd been around a couple of coaches that had worked with Nick, and just the presence that he has in his profession, the recruiting that they get done year in and year out. We obviously know the history that they produce NFL caliber players, and this year is no different. It's not surprising or shocking. I just have so much great respect for the way they do things, and Saturday was another great example. Everybody else is going to start to say things and do things, and some of it's just to kind of get everybody fired up. I'm sure I'm talking to one of them, but I think otherwise it's just everybody just kind of expects Alabama to be good, and it's what they are.
Coach, going into next week, I said it in this Georgia game. This is old school vintage football, and last year you were able to get this game actually to late in the fourth quarter and overtime. What's the plan going forward? Is it to impose that will at the line of scrimmage, or kind of keep those guys off balance with a little bit of the play action because of what they can do defensively in their front seven?
Marcus, when you're watching this film, the one thing that has stayed steady with Nick, and since I've been here at least, is their defense is incredible. I don't know. I think I've counted out that they've had 13 defensive linemen play, in very important minutes of games this year already. I mean, that's just unheard of. Most of us try to get to 8 or 9, and I think they got 12 or 13. They all look the same. I swear there's a little machine in the locker room that keeps kicking them out. Same size, same ability. Unfortunately, they're all very good. That's a staple, I think. So defensively, there's not much new there. They're going to line up their odd front. They're going to run some 4-3. They're going to run a little bit of blitz package on third down. They're going to get after the quarterback. They're going to wear on you and wear you down offensively. That's where the big change, even from last year, they're no huddle, their tempo stuff. They've lined up, with 2 or 3 wide receivers, quad sets into the boundary. They've gotten, I think, almost half their reps are now in 11 personnel, which is, a tight end with the 3 wides and 1 running back. So the 2 tight end system really isn't there around there that much. So that's what's changed offensively, and it's a different preparation, but it's one we got to be in. They're executing it very, very well. Lane and his creativity and what he stands for has really done a nice job.
Finally, Coach, some would look at the record and think your program was in big trouble, but you put 2 really outstanding performances together, even in the overtime loss and obviously what happened in Knoxville. What are your thoughts on your team as we near the midpoint? Where are you?
Paul, I really, as a head coach, everybody focuses on it now, and believe me, I'm as engaged in the Alabama game as anybody out there. But, you have to, for instance, the week after that is our bye week, and we're knocking on the door for some great prospects. I'll leave on Sunday night. I'll come back Tuesday afternoon. We'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll leave Wednesday night and come back home on Saturday afternoon. I think I'm going to be in 17 different schools in a 4-day window, and really see some of our top prospects. You can't see them, can't talk to them, but you can watch them practice say hey to the coaches and everybody else. To be in year 3, to know that we're moving forward. But we're not in this for participation ribbons. I mean, we want to win games, and I'm tired of staying close or getting patted on the back for making it respectable. I mean, I want to win games. I want to beat Alabama just like everybody else does that's in our program. But until we are at that stage where it can happen day in and day out, we have to live with the reality of what it is. And we won this game, so now we're moving forward. There's a little bit of a chip in our step, but our kids know that they're going to put their best foot forward. They're going to compete, and when this mountain gets climbed, when we're at the top, it's going to be fun for everybody to watch.
Coach, always appreciate your time. Best wishes, and we hope to talk soon.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Marcus.
All right.
You got it.